好，我们线上所有的嘉宾朋友们，以及现场所有的贵宾。
Distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, good afternoon. Welcome back to COP29, Enhancing Ambition and Enabling Action series. I am your MC Ying Jie. We're delighted to see so many of you joining us. Our session now is focused on circular economy. How to create a circular economy, how to engage all stakeholders, how to make sure resources are used in an innovative way, how to better manage waste management. These are all issues we are going to explore in our session. First of all, our moderator is Deputy General Lai Yingying from Resource Circulation Administration.
That's Secretary for Climate Change and Rural Affairs, Master of Science, Mr. Hugh Arankat Davis. 欢迎。接下来欢迎到的是循环台湾基金会。
Next, Mr. Charles Huang, Chairman and Founder of Circular Taiwan Network. Also, former Vice President of ITRI, Mr. Peng Yu-ming. Usan Karo, South Link Ecotourism Union. We once again welcome all the speakers. Please first watch the opening video.
The textile industry is the world's second most polluting industry after the oil industry. Hence, with its significant environmental impact, the textile industry is a critical focus for Taiwan in the fight against climate change in achieving net zero by 2050. Taiwan's Resource Circulation Administration Ministry of Environment is actively promoting textile recycling policies to reduce the environmental impact caused by the industry, from design to the supply chain to the consumer side, to explore the possibilities of a circular economy. During the design stage of textile products, it is critical to consider its circularity. This first step will determine whether the product at the end of its life cycle can be recycled and reused. In Taiwan, there are brands that design single material clothing, making the garments easier to recycle at the end of their life cycle. In terms of material selection, beyond recycled polyester fibers, other resources can be explored, such as low-carbon and biodegradable biomass materials, to replace fossil-based materials. When it comes to manufacturing, we often think of process optimization. Taiwanese textile suppliers have taken this beyond process optimization into equipment and facility design. For example, a water curtain wall has saved nearly $2 million in electricity costs per year. Energy and resource saving should extend beyond production lines to encompass the entire factory and even the surrounding community. Globally, an estimated 92 million tons of textile waste is created every year. The problem is consumers buy and throw away in excess. One of the solutions that is being implemented is product as a service. Taiwan is trying to create a new type of subscription-based business model, where consumers can return used clothing in exchange for new ones by paying a monthly subscription. It's a win-win situation for schools, companies, and the environment. In 2023, approximately 82,000 tons of old clothes were recycled in Taiwan. Taiwan's well-known yarn suppliers are addressing the issue of textile waste by converting leftover fabric into new yarn. Taiwan's advanced product manufacturing and recycling technologies in textile, along with circular services, Taiwan can offer comprehensive solutions and become a major contributor to global textile circularity.
好的，谢谢。那么接下
Thank you. Now we will proceed to photo call. We invite all participants online and on-site to look into the camera. please make a fist to show your commitment.
3、2、1，好，接下来比出您的大拇指来接。
Next, thumbs up, please.
3、2、1，好的，再一次的欢迎各位前来。
Once again, welcome to our session on circular economy. Now, I will turn it over to our moderator, Ms. Lai Yingying, Director General of Resource Circulation Administration. Thank you. I'm delighted to be the moderator for this session. And welcome to all of you joining us online. Good afternoon. Today, we are talking about circular economy. When we talk about enabling action, why do we have to talk about circular economy? Well, several factors. 45% of carbon emissions is related to product manufacturing. To cut carbon emissions, we need to promote circular economy. Today, we have 3 experts with us, including Chairman Huang of Circular Taiwan Network. They are going to talk to us about the trend and developments of circular economy. To represent the manufacturing industry, we have invited the former president of ITRI to talk to us about what the manufacturing sector can do. Also with us is Usaram Karo. He is the founder of Southlink Ecotourism Union. It's about promoting circular economy through the service industry, through tourism in particular. This is a stellar lineup of speakers. I'm sure we can all learn a lot from them about circular economy. Now, to give us the opening remarks, we have the Deputy First Minister of Wales and Cabinet Secretary for Climate Change and Rural Affairs, Shoiska Davis, Congressperson, is chairing this very important event. And our speaker is going to talk to us about how to promote circular economy. And next year, Taiwan is going to host another hotspot event. Now, without further ado, let's welcome our friend from Wales.
Am rhoi cyfle I mi anech a'i cyfarfod heddiw. Rwy'n gwerth fawrogi hyn yn fawr. My heartfelt thanks for giving me the opportunity to bless your meeting today. I really appreciate this. And thanks so much for the opportunity to share some remarks about the importance of the circular economy to us all, and to share the story of Wales's journey so far. I can think of no more important forum than COP29 to be encouraging these conversations. Addressing climate change is an imperative, as we know. It's an imperative for our planet, and it can also drive real opportunities. As a government, our vision and our ambition is to plan for and deliver a better and a fairer and a greener future for all. We recently had the honour of joining the list of those who've hosted the International Circular Economy Hotspot, and I was really delighted to welcome so many representatives from around the world, recognising the importance of the circular economy and sharing their insights and intelligence. And I was really delighted to be there for the announcement that Taiwan had been successful in securing the Asia-Australia Circular Economy Hotspot for 2025. I know that they share with Wales a recognition of the crucial importance of moving to a circular economy as an essential part of the transition to net zero. Now, before we move on to today's panel discussion, I thought it might be helpful if I share some of Wales's experience, where we are on our circular economy journey and what we've learned along the way. And we're also equally keen to learn from all of you here today and to open up further opportunities for collaboration. The very term circular economy has only really entered into widespread use comparatively recently. But here in Wales, the underpinning principles have deep roots. Wales was one of the very first nations on earth to enter into the Industrial Revolution, and we are proud to have been at its forefront. Our small nation's vast coalfields powered an era of transformation. However, Wales's experience of the Industrial Revolution also means that we understand all too well the legacy that an extractive economy can leave behind. This is a lesson that is just as important for us to share internationally as the good practice you will hear today as well. To this day, as a government, we are still expending a considerable amount of time and money dealing with the environmental impacts of an extractive economy. And many of our communities still suffer from the social impacts caused by that legacy. Many families are still struggling to find well-paid work in the former industrial heartlands. So in advocating the circular economy, we therefore also do so as a means to help others avoid some of these mistakes. 25 years ago, our National Assembly was established and powers were passed to Wales from London. This meant that we could take decisions closer to home over areas like our environment, waste, economic development and more. In establishing what is now our Senedd, our Welsh Parliament, and the Welsh Government, one of the first nations in the world to have a sustainable development duty enshrined in our constitution. Now, this has been an essential element to our approach ever since, and it underpins our approach to the circular economy and to a just transition today. And in 2015, with the passing of the Wellbeing of Future Generations Act, the Sustainable Development Duty evolved into our central organising principle in Wales. It enshrined in Welsh law a new set of well-being goals linked to the UN Sustainable Development Goals. And in 2016, we built on the Wellbeing of Future Generations Act by becoming one of the first subnational governments to legislate for carbon budgeting, following this up by becoming the first government in the world to declare a climate emergency in 2019. Then in 2021, we adopted our first circular economy strategy, recognising the essential role of moving to a circular economy in tackling the climate and nature emergency, together, by the way, with all the economic and the social benefits this brings. Our circular economy strategy evolved from the sustainable development approach we've taken to waste management since the very early days of the Welsh Government's creation. Back in 1999, we recycled less than 5% of our municipal waste, and we sent 95% to landfill. But we have come a long way since then. Our municipal landfill rate is now down to 1.6%. with our aim being to soon phase it out entirely. And moreover, earlier this year, it was announced that Wales has climbed to second in the world for recycling, with our journey taking us from having recycled less than 5% of our waste to now over 66%. And this year, it sees our statutory minimum target for recycling increasing to 70%. And this recycling success in Wales is underpinned by several core factors. From the outset, we've had a clear long-term vision supported by consistent policy and a progressive regulatory regime. This has provided a clear pathway, supported in turn by the investment of £1 billion since devolution into infrastructure and expert support and guidance to improve our recycling services. But more than anything else, at the heart of our success has been partnership working. The progress we have made is a real testament to partnership working and team effort between Welsh Government and our local governments, with the waste sector and our delivery partners, and I have to say, from citizens right across Wales who have truly embraced recycling in their homes. Recycling has now simply become part of who we are as a nation in Wales. But whilst we're rightly proud of these achievements to date, there is much more to do. And this is encapsulated by the title of our circular economy strategy called Beyond Recycling. Look, I will not dwell on the environmental imperatives. We all know that there is overwhelming scientific consensus as we see the climate and nature emergency unfolding across the world. But the exciting thing about the circular economy is that as well as being essential in tackling the climate and the nature crisis that we collectively face, it also has so many other benefits for our economy and our society. There is a critical link between resource efficiency and business productivity, between the circular economy and improved supply chain resilience and stronger local economies. In a decarbonising global economy, the transition to a circular economy also brings benefits to competitiveness and economic resilience. So as a Welsh Government, one of our overarching priorities is to grow the green economy and the well-paid, secure, sustainable jobs of the future that come with it. In doing so, our aim is to make the most of the opportunities that come from that circular economy. Our success to date in recycling represents a really solid foundation, but our aim is to go further, to continue to make progress. And recognising the vital role of business in transitioning to a circular economy, we have put in place government funding schemes to help businesses to innovate, to adapt their processes, to, for example, use recycled content, to adopt circular business models, and to increase resource efficiency. And in addition, we're working with major companies to put in place the strategic infrastructure we all need to move to that circular economy. With our high quality recycling helping to attract investment, so for example, a state-of-the-art plastic recycling facility in South Wales or the new cardboard recycling plant in North Wales. We are also very fortunate to already have examples such as the UK's Royal Mint, making coins and medals for an average of 60 countries every year, but who this year have commenced extracting precious metals from recycled electronic waste from their groundbreaking facilities. Now, as well as being pivotal to our recycling achievements, our partnership working with local government is taking an important next step with the rollout of infrastructure to support repair and reuse right across Wales. I'm proud to say that 80% of our local authorities now have a dedicated reuse or repair facility serving our communities in Wales, and we are working to expand our coverage further across the whole of Wales. And alongside our drive for repair and reuse, we're also working to implement extended producer responsibility scheme for packaging, including a deposit return scheme for drinks containers. These schemes will incentivise producers to reduce the materials they use and to improve product design, as well as maximising recycling and moving to more widespread reuse. I know that other countries have already innovated in this area, including Taiwan, and we're really keen to learn from your experiences. In partnership with the third sector, we have also rolled out initiatives which focus on our communities, on health and well-being, as well as encouraging communities to move towards a more circular way of living. This infrastructure now includes a network of repair cafes in 119 communities, delivered by Repair Cafe Wales. Benthyg Cymru have also established a network of libraries of things at 23 sites. Benthyg, by the way, is the Welsh word meaning to borrow. So this service enables people in Wales to lend and to share tools and equipment rather than having to buy their own. And finally, we're also immensely proud of the work we've done with Fair Share Cymru to roll out a network preventing food waste across Wales. Rather than being wasted, surplus food goes instead to provide meals to vulnerable people. And our academic institutions have also played an immensely important role, bringing the benefits of cutting-edge research and innovation to our businesses and communities. And as a result, The transition to a circular economy features strongly in our innovation strategy for Wales. Now, as you can tell, I'm extremely proud of what we've achieved so far in Wales, but as a government, we're not complacent in the face of the challenges involved in attaining a truly circular economy. We recognise that it is more important than ever that we collaborate, we seek out good practice wherever we find it. We want to build collaborative networks to share, to learn, and to work in partnership to support us all to succeed in moving to a circular economy. Our aim is very clear: to move to being a zero waste, net zero carbon nation, using only our fair share of the Earth's resources. We also want to be as much at the heart of the transition to a circular economy as we were to the Industrial Revolution. So I'm therefore really delighted to be invited to address you today, and I'm looking forward to working with you in the future as we work together to bring about the materials transition alongside the energy transition, which is already well underway. Diolch yn fawr I chi gyd. Thank you all very much.
非常谢谢依兰。
Thank you, Ilanka Davis, Vice Minister. Thank you for the opening remarks. Wales played a very important role in Industrial Revolution. Now, Wales is playing a crucial role in our migration to the circular economy. Yes, indeed, we can learn a lot from Wales. Our first speaker is Chairman and founder of Circular Taiwan Network, Mr. Charles Huang. Let's welcome him. Thank you, moderator. Director General Lai, I am very honored to participate in this event. Earlier, we heard from our Wales representative. I am impressed by what they have achieved. Now let's talk about Taiwan. In the next 20 minutes, I'm gonna share with you how Taiwan is promoting the circular economy. Today, my presentation is focusing on this idea. Without the circular economy, there's no solution to the climate crisis. In other words, if we do not change our business model, we won't be able to solve the climate crisis. Against this backdrop, I'm gonna talk about two major themes. To migrate from a linear to the circular economy, we need to step away from the linear economy, which does not have the so-called sustainable DNA, because the linear economy is not sustainable. And a second idea I would like to put to you is that as we migrate to the circular economy, already mentioned by our Welsh representative, that is partnership. Partnership is crucial in promoting the circular economy. At our network, that is the most important thing that we do. It's about how to collaborate with partners. We talked about CC for CC, circular collaboration for climate crisis. So these are the key concepts I'm going to cover today. In the interest of time, I will go right into it. First of all, for the past 3 decades, from 1992, 1993, we talked about climate change, but now it's climate crisis or climate hell as expressed by the UN Secretary General. Why? Here you see the important milestones on the left. IPCC publishes a scientific evaluation report every 5 years. AR6 is the latest version. UNFCCC, the organizer of COP, held the first COP meeting in 1992. And we've had the Kyoto Protocol and the Paris Agreement. A lot has been said. Some has been done as well. But have we some good results to show? No. We see that the carbon emissions are still going up. On the right-hand side, that's the chart. Carbon emission only went down slightly during 2008, during the financial crisis. Also again in 2019, during COVID pandemic. And this emission growth is the same across the world, also in Taiwan. Why is that? Why are we not cutting carbon emissions? The reason is simple. When we expect a different future, we need to do a different thing. However, we're still doing the same thing. As mentioned earlier, we are still in the linear economy, which cannot be sustainable. The linear economy does not have the sustainable DNA. You cannot be sustainable if you continue with the linear economy, because linear economy is about making profits for private enterprises and make risk and cost common to all stakeholders. And we've been following the linear economy since the Industrial Revolution. A lot of external cost is created, and because of that, we cannot reduce carbon emissions. Two things on my slide here. UN Secretary Guterres at COP27 said this. In frustration, I guess. He said, "We are on a highway to climate hell with our foot still on the accelerator." We are on the highway to climate hell. That was the first time he used the expression climate hell.
我这边要补充。
The accelerator. What is the accelerator here? That is our linear economy. On the cover of The Economist, it says, "Say goodbye to 1.5 degrees Celsius." Private enterprises are getting all the profits, but the public is bearing all the costs. That is the linear economy. But that profit is not true profit. You can say the cost is high, this cost is low. You have to understand that we are not calculating or taking the external cost into consideration. So good business may not be a good idea because it may involve a lot of external costs. According to a Dutch foundation's research, these 5 major petrol companies in Europe, Shell, BP, Eni from Italy, Total from France, these petrol companies, within 5 years, they've generated 800 billion euro in profit. However, the external cost is actually 13 trillion euros. That is a big gap. And this is also why we are actually taking on the external cost in this linear economy. This is just an example. When companies talk about profit, that profit is never true profit because it does not reflect the external cost. Now, what are we doing here in Taiwan? We believe the climate crisis can also be turned into an opportunity. We should seize the opportunity. It is an opportunity where it can serve as the catalyst for industrial transformation. We're happy to see that many companies in Taiwan are capitalizing on ESG issues to help themselves upgrade or transform themselves. Next year, in 2025, in our hotspot conference, we would like to share some of those experiences and examples with our international friends. Now, how do we capitalize on the opportunity offered by climate crisis? First, we need to collaborate. No single country can do this alone.
需要合作。
We need to cooperate, whether we have the experience of wealth or in the future we want to cooperate with Japan or Korea. These are our future partners for cooperation. So there are two keys. First, we want to have international dialogue. We want to foster circulation in 3 different areas. We need to have the trade cooperation and cooperation on carbon reduction, and also the Alliance for Circular Accounting. Domestically, there are the circular trilogy that we are going to promote. We need to have good governance. We need to identify the good ideas so that we need to turn the good ideas into good businesses. So this is a circular trilogy. Today, we are trying to talk to our international partners. So I just want to share with you a simple slide to talk about the trilogy. Why do we need the circular trilogy? Because we realize that when talking about good businesses, actually sometimes good businesses are very different from good ideas. That's what happened over the last 2 centuries. Because under the linear economy, our culture, our values, or even our financial statements, it's all about creating more profit. So I just share with you the elements. You can say these are the 7 crises faced by countries around the world. So climate is one, and pollution, shortage of resources, public health hazards, social justice, and also the gaps, and also the deprivation across the borders. And all these are against the backdrop of having profit only. So now I would like to talk to you about international dialogue. So we want to have more cooperation on trade, carbon reduction, and also the circular accounting. First, why do we need to make circular economy an international concept? Whether in terms of the inter or intra supply chain, why do we need to foster more dialogue? Simply put, now our trade dialogue is based on a linear economy. What does that mean? Say we have country A and country B. When they try to remove their trade barriers during their negotiation, country A wants to create more products to sell to country B. Country B also wants to manufacture more products to sell to country A. When A and B, these 2 countries, continue to manufacture more products to sell to each other, actually these 2 countries are increasing the dynamics for trade, but having more manufactured products, meaning more carbon reduction, carbon emission. So to promote economic growth, it is still based on linear economy. So we understand that by having more trade now, it will create more carbon emission. So in the meantime, we need to have the dialogue on environmental issue to address the climate crisis. So that's why we have from COP1 until COP29. The purpose for COP meeting is to cut down carbon emissions. So the trade talks and the environmental talks, we don't want them to happen in parallel. But the fact is that we do see the controversy among these 2 talks. So we do see a blind spot. So we believe that the spirit of the circular economy and the business model should be introduced into the trade talks. Secondly, we talk about cooperation on carbon reduction. What does that mean? Now, the standard for carbon reduction is based on the foundation of having the manufacturing as the foundation. We understand that we have the polluter pay mechanism, so that's the manufacturer. But reducing carbon emission is everyone's responsibility, so we need to have the consumption-based control. So we need to have the consumption equals production plus import minus export. So that will be the real carbon emission. So we need to have tighter control over this formula. On the left, you can see the production-based CO2 emission. If you turn that into consumption-based carbon emission, you do see a huge increase in the number. If we look at the USA, the carbon emission per capita is 49 tons. Correction, 14.9 tons. That's on production. But from the consumer's perspective, that becomes 16.5 tons. Then if we look at the European Union, the average is slower, 6.3 tons per capita. But if it's consumption-based, then it increased by 24%, becoming 7.9%. Then if we look at Japan, if we move from production-based CO2 emission to consumption-based, we do see a 15% of growth. So everyone's CO2 emission will be 10 tons per capita. If you look at Taiwan now, we stand at 12.2. If we change to consumption-based CO2 emission, then Taiwan's CO2 emission will be much higher. Interestingly, if we look at China, China is a huge production country. Its CO2 emission per capita, when it changed to consumption base, it will reduce by 10%, India reduced by 11%, Australia reduced by 13%. More importantly, if you look at the right, when we transition from production-based to consumption-based CO2 emission, many developing or underdeveloped countries, they already have very low carbon emissions. So at COP26, the foreign minister of Tuvalu, he stood on his beach. He said, I've been doing nothing, but every day you can see my land is diminishing because of the rise of the sea level. So these are the external costs. So secondly, we advocate that the whole world should calculate the carbon emissions based on a consumption-based method, not on production-based CO2 emission. So everyone is responsible. Everyone should be held accountable. So we should believe that this is a good opportunity for us to promote the consumption-based CO2 emission calculation. I just want to share with you a piece of news. Last week, a report from German Watch said that Taiwan's CO2 emission ranks 60th in the world. So Ministry of Environment saying that this is not a reasonable mechanism. It is not reasonable, but I think that the base is just wrong. So it's a production-based CO2 emission calculation. The denominator is production, but I believe that the denominator should be consumption. So I do see that the result will be different if we change the denominator. So I think this is a great timing. It's a good opportunity. We want people to know that it's a shared responsibility for the polluter and for the manufacturer. So the consumer and the manufacturer, they both should share the burden of pollution. So it takes the circular cooperation between the two parties. I think this slide echoes with what I said. When talking about carbon emissions, the producers, consumers, suppliers, everyone needs to cooperate, whether it's agricultural production or industrial production. No one can do it alone. There's no single country or industry can solve the problem. We hope that Taiwan can promote CC for CC dialogue. Next, now we are promoting an transnational circular accounting promotion alliance. Let me share with you one example. What's happening now is that if we are going to play baseball, but actually we are using the baseball's rules to baseball games, how can we play? Because if you're not changing the statement, if we're not changing the accounting methods, we need to change the rule of the games. We need to change the way we govern so that we will be able to achieve net zero carbon emissions. Meaning, if we do not change the way we calculate the points, if we do not change the rules of the games, whether it's for the companies or for the competent authority, if we are still calculating the carbon emission based on the linear economy, then things will not change. So to sum up, we need to have the 3 pillars for circular collaboration. The first one is the trade talk or trade cooperation. Among countries, among industries, among different enterprises, we need to have more dialogue to include circular economy. Secondly, we need to promote the consumption-based CO2 equivalent carbon management and governance. Finally, we need to have transnational circular accounting promotion alliance. Our speaker came from Wales. We hope to start our cooperation on these 3 key topics. That sums up my presentation. So this is just how we share with you how Taiwan can promote a circular cooperation with everyone. We need to foster greater cooperation between different countries. Thank you very much. Thank you, Chairman Huang. Thank you for sharing with us how we can elevate the climate action and how to work with other countries in the world. Our second speaker is from ITRI. So we know that when we promote circular economy, definitely we want to promote the industrial transformation. So when working at ITRI, Mr. Peng also led a task force in design and in R&D to help us to advance the circular economy. So now I'd like to give the floor to Dr. Peng. Thank you, Director General Lai, for your introduction. When working at ITRI, I was advocating how to make sure that the renewable energy, including solar power, to be circulated. I'm Alex Peng. I'm the believer of circular economy, so I do believe in what Chairman Huang said. But having the belief is not enough. We need to implement the ideas advocated by Chairman Huang. So for us, we are circulating the solar power batteries. When I was about to retire, we saw some preliminary results, but we were not able to commercialize that. So definitely we want to make our products more internationalized. So after retirement, I made up my mind. I want to commercialize and internationalize this kind of products. So now I'd like to share with you the process. So first of all, we see the solar power equipment or facilities. Over the past few years, we do see a quick increase in Taiwan. By 2030, we will have 30 to 31 gigawatt of electricity generated by solar power. So with limited land in Taiwan, we do see very promising growth. And internationally, from 5 years ago at a COP meeting advocates have been calling upon everyone to increase the use of renewable energy, especially solar power, because it's relatively easy to install. It can be installed on the land, on the water, or on the ocean. So by 2040, the actual installation is 511 gigawatt, and Taiwan accounts for less than 1%. So from this perspective, we do see huge installation around the world. Definitely, we believe that green energy is something very beautiful, but when they become waste, For example, if the panel can be used for 20 years, so by 2043, if we install that by 2023, there will be 24 million tons of waste solar cells. So it means that it cost 82.1 billion US dollars to manufacture the solar cells. If we just put them into waste, it is a big pity. It means that over $80 billion, well, that this dollar amount of the panels are made with 300 million tons of CO2. So if we use the solar cells, then definitely we can save about 100 to 200 million tons of CO2.
从这个
And with carbon emissions, we can also create a new business model, and that's worth 18 to 30 billion US dollars per year. It's a good idea and a good business because it helps us cut emissions and save energy. That should be our consensus. Now I'm going to talk about how to make sure that can be a reality. Around the world, there are several ways to recycle solar panels. Now let's take a look at how different countries are doing this. First one is the mechanical method. You can shred the solar panels. Most solar PV materials are harmless. They can be disposed at landfill. Another way is the pyrolysis. You heat up the solar panels and get the material. Another way is the chemical method, using chemicals to dissolve the metals that you want, for example, copper, silver, etc. Another good method is number 4, physical glass removal. That's gonna be my focus throughout the presentation. Taiwan is a latecomer in the area of solar PV. So we can learn from these early adopter countries, for example, Japan. In Japan, they have recycling regulations governing solar panels. 5% of the purchase price is used for the disposal of solar cells. Also, the government provides subsidies to recyclers. The government encourages people to buy good solar cell equipment, and the subsidy level can be as high as 50 to 80%. I think this is worth learning. And Germany is a pioneer in solar PV, and we can also learn from their recycling method. In 2012, the importer and the manufacturer of solar cells were responsible for recycling. If companies do not know how to recycle solar panel, there is a PV cycle not NPO that helps provide matching services. Now this is in Taiwan. There is a recycling fee of 1,000 Taiwan dollars per kilowatt. In Japan, once again, to summarize, they provide subsidies to equipment recyclers, and Germany takes a similar approach. I think we can learn from these countries. Next, I'm gonna talk about the different types of solar panels. This is a company that is already collaborating with us. And here, I want to talk about the design of solar panels. If you have nice looking solar panels, people are more willing to install them. in facilities around them. For example, this is a partner that we have. They are able to make solar panels in different colors. They can look like plants or vegetation. They can be in emerald green or some other colors, and these are great examples of building integrated PV. It provides shading, it generates power, these panels look like vegetation, they are easy to the eye. They provide multiple benefits. They can be installed not just on the roofs, but also on walls. They can also come up with mosaic patterns. For example, this is an example from the Middle East. Solar panels can be used to create a portrait. This is making solar panels more aesthetic so that people will embrace them. Now, I'll talk about how to recycle solar cells. It's about recycling the materials and turn them into low carbon materials. And low carbon materials, of course, can provide carbon credits. And this is how solar cells are being processed right now. In the beginning, designers set solar cells, design them in a way that they can be used for 20 years. The glass and silicon are glued together using very strong glues. So it's very difficult to separate the two. And that is why the most common way to dispose solar cells is to shred them. And then these shredded panels can be used in concrete. If you remember, solar cells, they are made with at least a cost of $120 million. So if we simply discard the solar panels, that is wasteful and not efficient. And we've been looking for partners who have more advanced recycling technologies. And indeed, we've found this partner in Japan. Combined with the ICT advantage of Taiwan, I'm sure we can do great things. For example, on the left-hand side, Bosan-san, the old president of the company, he is in his 80s. He is still very enthusiastic about promoting the technology. The technology will evolve so that not only single-side glass can be recycled, but also double-sided glass will be able to be recycled. And the recycling equipment can be compact. You only need a little bit of power, 0.8 watt-hour to dismantle the solar cells. This is combining automation, ICT technology, and it will reduce the carbon footprint of solar panels. And I think this model can be promoted in Taiwan and around the world. Let's take a look at this clip.
封装材料就是铝啊，铝也是。
Solar cells are usually packaged in aluminum. Aluminum is also an energy-intensive material. It accounts for 10% of the weight of solar panel, and glass accounts for 70% of the weight.
所以它有一个我们叫做狼牙棒哈。
It uses this tool to peel off the glass and shred the glass. And it's designed in a way that the glass is clean. When you have clean glass, of course, it can be used more efficiently, applied to more advanced end products. And all the materials, including silicon, silver, etc., they can be recycled. We call this the complete cycle. All the materials can be captured again and put into use again. In Japan, they spent 10 years on developing this technology. Now we can add on that the IoT technology from Taiwan. We believe this has wide applications. Junction boxes can be recycled, separated out. Aluminum, silver, all the materials are separated. What's the economic value of this? If we simply take out the aluminum part, and it's about 12 million US dollars per gigawatt. Now at ITRI, we are developing even more advanced technology to finally separate glass and silicon. Because of higher purity, you can use those recycled materials in better applications. What about solar panels that are being discarded right now? I think we need to think about right now as well as the future. For solar panels that are being discarded right now, we need to have a method that can dispose of them or recycle them. And this is what we're doing right now. This is the current module. We can reduce the carbon footprint by 40%. And we can add value in the tune of 35 million US dollars per gigawatt. Now, for the next generation of solar panels, we will be able to dismantle them even more finely and add and extract an economic value of 80 billion. I think this is important. We're not only solving the problems we face today, but also the problems that we're going to face in the future. Now, this is the double glass module. There are 2 layers of glass. The ground-facing layer is there to absorb the reflected sunlight. And also the white part can reflect sunlight. So 15% more light is absorbed by the solar panel. That's very interesting. You can use waste glass to make solar PV even more efficient. But glass is still an energy-intensive material. Then we think about how to make better use of glass. When I was at ITRI, I was promoting this total circularity. For example, waste glass can be used as building materials, as man-made marble. With better designs, we can add more value. And here, the waste glass on the left can be turned into valuable materials on the right. For example, they can be used as electronics material, as electronic components for higher-end applications. I think this is a business model that's worth promoting. As Chairman Huang mentioned earlier, it's about collaborating with countries around the world. Our company is already working with our partner in Japan. And here you see Mr. Shi Zhenlong. He is also in his 80s, but he is fully supporting us. So in his 80s, he is starting a company that is creating eco-friendly yachts. And this eco-friendly yacht has traveled around the world 4 times. Now, for the 5th trip, he is using all the equipment developed being here in Taiwan. And in 2025, this eco-friendly yacht will sail to Brazil to attend the COP. It will also go to a World Expo in Brazil, and also the World Expo in Osaka in 2025. And again, this is an eco-friendly yacht using a lot of recycled material, including materials recycled from solar cells. As of now, there is no economies of scale when it comes to recycling solar cells in Taiwan. We are counting on government support, but we are also attending exhibitions around the world. For example, here you see Director General Lai paying a visit at our booth. Thank you for the encouragement and support. What I want to get across is that government should fully support a good technology. For example, in Japan, they provide incentives for companies to purchase good equipment because all emerging technologies need some kind of support before they can reach economies of scale. And once there's scale, we can really have a circular economy.
经济
So finally, the economic benefit and also external cost will be even more quickly returned. So this is the technology we'd like to share with the world. So now we are working with Arizona, Texas, and India, and also the former Prime Minister of Australia. They all believe that this is something needs to be promoted so that we can create a circular eco chain. So the circular eco chain cannot be done just by Taiwan. We need to link up with the whole world so that we can provide technology, provide circularity, so that different regions can use that for different purposes, so that we can create a CC for CC. So I think that will be a very important trend in the future. So that's my presentation. Thank you very much. Thank you to Dr. Peng. So thank you for using the solar panel as an example to promote the circular economy. So moving on. So I have a question for you. You must have gone to the Southern Highway. So Southern Link. So you must have visited Dawu Township. So there's a village. So we have the Southern Link Travel Alliance Ecotourism Union. So he believed that if you want to achieve sustainability, you need to link up with the local community. So our speaker, Usan Karo, has talked to the local shop owners, local communities to jointly promote sustainability in culture, in ecosystem, so that we can give a new face to sustainability. So now I'll give the floor to Usan Karo. Hello everyone. I'm from Taidong Taima village. I'm from the Amis and Paiwan tribe. So I'd like to share with you the South-Link Ecotourism Union, how we promote circular economy in the local community. I just want to share with you about my journey. I went back to my hometown. I opened a B&B from 2016 to 2018. We were listed as one of the top 25 B&B in Taiwan. So Taima Township, Jinglun, has become a world-renowned tourism destination. But we received a one-star comment. Some people told us that the B&B was very nice, but the tribe was very dirty. There were a lot of garbage. So that's how we started the first ever beach cleaning campaign. In the meantime, we also opened up a cafe in Jinglun. We didn't provide the single-use utensils or packaging. We saw a lot of negative feedback, but we decided not to provide single-use plastic products. So in 2019, in our B&B, we also have the toolkit made from the marine debris. And in 2021, we have the self-funded sustainable cups. We hope that we can work together with the stores in Jinglun Creek. We want to reduce the single-use waste. And in 2022, we organized the Southern Link Sustainable Travel Alliance. So we have a festival in the Southern Link. We use the stones from nature. Also, all of the participants could not provide single-use products, and participants will have to bring their own utensils. So we hope that this will not just be a one-time event, but we can play a bigger role in promoting the education about environment. So that's why we established our alliance. So we only have 10 companies joining us, but as of now, we see that in Taimali, Jingfeng, Dawu, Daren, so along the southern link, we have 40 partners joining us. Over the past 2 years, we provided all kinds of events from the gifts and also B&B. So we have all different kinds of sectors. So in Taimali, that's a more populous area. So from Jingfeng to Daren to Dawu Township, step by step, we are moving closer to the north of Zhiben or even the city center of Taidong. So more and more partners joined the alliance, and they took the action to show their support. So in our alliance, the core is that we would like to promote cultural sustainability, behavioral sustainability, and ecological sustainability. In terms of cultural sustainability, we want to have the farm to fork concept for sustainability. So in terms of our daily diet, we not only want to cut down carbon emissions, we also want to preserve and to support the small farmers. We want to make sure that they can continuously use the farm, so even after 100 years, we can still preserve this kind of crops. And also we have the local festival, like the Kasadasan, and also all kinds of festivals. So by organizing the musical events or the food events that people enjoy, we want people to get a better understanding about the local indigenous cultures so that we can promote the understanding about our local cultures. And the second one is behavioral sustainability. When people travel to Taidong, we want them to bring their own tableware. But at different places, they will be able to rent, to borrow the to rent these kind of products for free so that we can reduce the waste. So they can choose to go to the sustainable stores. This is how we can change their behavior. As for ecological sustainability, we want to start from procurement. So for our alliance, whether in the stores or in a B&B or at the cafes or for any kind of product, we attach great importance to sustainable ecology. So we just want to support these partners. This also shows our support for the environment. So after our alliance was established, we have created our own logo. So you can see this looks like the shape of Taidong. So the leaf in the center means that we can go back to the land, we can decompose. And also we have created 4 sustainable travel routes. So for a 2-day trip, whether you are in Jinglun, Taimali, or in different places, we can reduce the single-use waste and we can promote a culture and to play a bigger role in sustainability. So when we set up the booth, we also work with a lot of travel agencies to promote ESG. So we also promoted the festival in Tainan. We have the Slow Food Festival in Taidong. So throughout the process, we tell people that they can use sustainable tableware. Also in the Southern Link, they can take actions to showcase what kind of sustainable actions they have taken. So by borrowing this kind of tableware, they can know which stores to go to show their support. So in 2021, a lot of bloggers and also influencers show their support for us. So they also support our initiative online. So more and more people knew about us. We even attracted Malaysian media and media from around the world to cover our story. So we tell them by promoting eco-tourism, we can support the local initiatives. So we have a lot of environmental sustainability related reports. So Indigenous TV, Indigenous News, also like public television, Eastern television, and like Commonwealth and Smiling Taiwan. Our efforts have been seen by these mainstream media. And interestingly, we received a phone call from the Environmental Protection Bureau. They gave us they want us to provide 500 county local sustainable cups as a gifts. So we have the community-based returning system. So we have the use for groups, use for individual customers and community. So by having the returning system, if you come to Nanhui, if you go to a route, then we have our association and we have a farm, and for the groups, they can make sure that we do not provide the bottled water, but we can use the sustainable bottles instead. So if you go to some famous cafes like Heisho or Lika, all these are famous cafes, you can order the coffee. You're not getting any single-use products, but we can use the recyclable products for you, so we can reduce the amount of waste. We are not affecting the behavior of the tourists, but also the local residents. They can join our initiative. They will also reduce the use of single-use products. So vuvu, these are the elderly in the tribes. So one day we saw them bringing this kind of recyclable bottle. So I was really surprised to see them bring this kind of bottle. I said, vuvu, I think you're so good. You know how to be more environmental friendly. So they just replied, we didn't know what environmental protection is. We just know that this is a very good bottle. The drink can be very cold inside this bottle. Because it's a very good product, so the elderly would like to take actions to reduce the use of single-use products. Also, in the Southern Link, we have the art festival. They see our efforts in working with the festival. So we work with big travel agencies like Lion Travel Agency. So they have a package tour to come to our area. So we can take them to see the artwork, but we can also stimulate the economic development for the local community. So we are thinking about in Southern Link, maybe we can introduce the use of more green transportation. So we are working with the Ministry of Transportation and Communication, thinking about maybe we can have a co-sharing public transport. So we have the bus departing from the Southern Link all the way to the inside of the tribes. We go through the Eastern Line so people can enjoy the beautiful scenery in the tribes, and they can take the public transportation. We also have a night observation activity. So by providing environmental education, we can share the ecology of the Southern Link route. So actually, two young people, after returning to the hometown, they want to preserve the ecology. They are beekeepers, but due to the climate change, the production of their bees dropped by a lot. So we initiate this kind of activity. We want them to be the tour guide for the night observation. So I think at night, this is a very good activity. We also support these kind of young people returning to the hometown to start their businesses. So over the past 2 years, we have organized 26 gatherings, hoping that we can consolidate the strength and connect with the local communities. I found that we have very, very strong cooperation that also create benefits for the tourism industry. So every time when we have a gathering, these are the important goals. Actually, the partners take turns hosting different kind of gatherings. The hosts can share their sustainability practices. Also, the participants can also learn new approaches, and through the exchanges, maybe we can have complementary cooperation so that we can expand our business model. Even on the path of sustainability, we can share about the difficulties we encounter, so the partners can help you to identify the solution. So what we want to do is that we can create a alliance for the common good. So this year we focus on marine debris. So in November of 2023, in our annual conference, we invite Ms. Chen, also the county magistrate from Taidong, and also director of the Taidong Environmental Protection Bureau. And in the second year, we also invite Mr. Yan Changshou and also Ms. Lee from the East Coast Scenic Area Management Office. So what will be the next step? So now we are designing the sustainable gift logo. By recycling the materials, we can create the environmental friendly gift boxes. So totally there are 40 different brands, 40 different stores. So totally there are 1,600 signature products that can support this important initiative. So we can support those who return to their hometown. We can continue to support sustainability through our collaborative efforts. We want to have a systematic organization of the SDG manuals. So by this kind of having this kind of manual, we can support people to gain a better understanding. Also, we have the workshop on the beach waste bags. So we want to give the canvas a new life. So these recycled products, they can get close to nature, but they can also join the initiative to clean the beach, clean the forest. We also want to have free rental of banquet tableware because along this southern link, usually people use the single waste products, but we want to have a rental system to reduce the waste. By 2025, our alliance is going to have an inventory of all of the all year-round activities. So by having this kind of event, we just want people to know that next year, if you come to our area, we have events throughout the year. You can come and support the common good of our initiative. We continue to host the events. We want to influence more people to join us.
We want more people to join our ranks and expand our sphere of influence. For example, we now have partners from other parts of Taiwan, including Guanshan, Chenggong. They come to visit us in our area and learn from our best practices. What we are doing is to establish a new travel culture by giving people choices and modifying their behaviors. When we travel, we can choose to spend our dollars on sustainable stores and operators. We can bring our own reusable utensils. We can also borrow environmentally friendly utensils from these shops. So I talked to you about my journey, and I understand that I am also helping the local community thrive. And the most important thing is to help one another. If you are more established, you are now capable of helping newcomers. I started my journey 10 years ago. Now I can influence other people. I have established our South Link Ecotourism Union. But I also encourage my partners, don't forget your main business, your core business, because your business is your roots. You should take care of yourself before you can take care of others. This is our website. Feel free to check out our websites and join us so that you can learn more about what our initiatives. Thank you very much. Thank you, Usan, Carol, for that heartwarming presentation. This is an initiative starting with one individual. And he's now able to change people around him. So today we've heard from the civil society, the industry, the tourism industry. They have provided great examples for the circular economy. Now we will open the floor for questions or comments. Questions or comments? We have 3 speakers in our session today. They have shared examples of the circular economy. What are your takeaways? Well, I've been advocating some long-term goals. Some people say I'm too idealistic. So I'm very happy today to hear about some practical examples. For example, Dr. Paul mentioned some examples from the manufacturing industry, and Usan shared how he is working in Taidong to help people be more sustainable. That makes me feel that Taiwan has come a long way in promoting the circular economy. We have the theory, the methodology, as well as practical actions. I have some questions for you people working on the front line, for Ulsan specifically. Over the past decade, you've been working in this area. You see people have changed. What's the biggest motivation for you? That's my first question. And my second question is, what's the biggest obstacle for you? Thank you very much, Chairman Huang, for those questions. I go back to my hometown to promote sustainability. My motivation is that I want to be kind to people, be kind to the earth. Actually, I didn't start out wanting to promote sustainable tourism. I simply wanted to be kind to people in my tribe, to my people, to people around me. I want to cherish the earth that I walk on. And because of these concepts, I always reflect back on how people relate to the land. And I think that is the biggest motivation for me. Now, obstacles. When I went back to my hometown, I realized that I didn't know enough about my own culture. I grew up in the city. I didn't know much about my own cultures, and that was also why I wanted to go back home. I learned along the way, while I didn't have a good foundation, a solid foundation, I came back to the hometown. And I started to realize that people in my tribe look at what I did from the cultural perspective. People often think industrial development and sustainable actions are in conflict. But over the past decades, I've realized that it's not always the case. I have some experience working in the city, but going back to my hometown, I want to be kind to my people, to the land. So over the past 10 years, I've experienced fewer and fewer obstacles. I'm happy to report that I have a strong motivation. I am experiencing fewer and fewer obstacles, and so many people want to follow me and expand our sphere of influence. Thank you. When you go to beautiful Taidong, you will be able to see the beautiful oceans, and mountains. And I think you will realize what Usang was talking about when he said that he wanted to be kind to his people and to the land. Now, a question for former President Peng. What are the unique opportunities and challenges for Taiwan in promoting the recycling of solar panels? Well, Taiwan is a small country. It's difficult for us to achieve economies of scale in any sector. Without economies of scale, it's more difficult to market or to sell in Taiwan than compared to other countries. And that is why when I work with international partners, I want to create or build Taiwan into a flagship store, a concept store. And when we prove that a concept works, we can then work with large partners. For example, our Japanese partners. We wanted to start an alliance called REPV. And our Japanese partner says, well, you can use our logo. So our Japanese partner treats us or Taiwan as a very important flagship store. It's not just about supporting Taiwan. I think it's about creating a global alliance. And this is what we've been working on. Here, I have to say, when it comes to marketing or brand building, we need to do our part. For example, our speaker talked about the Southlink Ecotourism Union. I have a suggestion. In Europe, they refer to ocean waste as the sand of the ocean. That's making it sound more romantic. And another example, Giant, a bike manufacturer from Taiwan. Their vision is to create the most low-carbon bicycle in the world. To make your product low carbon, of course, you incur a higher cost in recycling. But they do it through design. Their bicycles look different, look more aesthetic. And because their bicycles have higher costs, they also sell higher prices. They are strong believers of their own brand and capabilities. They believe their fans and enthusiasts are willing to pay 10% or 20% more to support low-carbon products. Earlier, I said that government should provide support. That's one way. The public sector can provide incentives to accelerate things. And of course, the private sector is already doing a lot of things, but the public sector can accelerate things. And I think if we do these two things, Taiwan can play a bigger role in creating the circular economy around the world. And the next question is for Chairman Huang. When we talk about the environment, the economy, the culture, there are so many aspects that we need to balance. How do we do that? Thank you, Director General. I get this kind of question all the time. As Usam mentioned earlier, some concepts seem to be contradictory to one another. For example, you want to have economic development, you want to be sustainable. Many people ask me, is this profitable? As mentioned during my presentation, I think that's a very interesting concept. We think some concepts are in conflict. Because when we think about sustainability, we want to have a framework that reduces externality. But our industry today take externality for granted. They think, of course, external costs should be borne by other parties. So to your question, here's my experience or my take. Ideals or visions are important. They are our guiding star. But to get to where we want to go, we need to be realistic. How do we do that? I work with corporations primarily. Our foundation has been in existence for 10 years. Nowadays, we work with SMEs as well. But when we talk to corporations, if you think there is a conflict between the environmental goal, cultural goal, or the profit goal, I often give them this suggestion. First, if you believe that your current business model is not necessarily a good idea, if you admit that your current business model has externality, perhaps you need to change. That's the first thing. Second, when you have a different concept, how do you instill that new concept into your own corporation? It's not about having a rip and replace. You still have to be practical. I often suggest that the best way to avoid this conflict is to create a new circular economy model which will grow in scale and then replace your old business model. In other words, you create a new business model that has no externality and slowly but surely replace your old business model with a new business model. Some corporations, when they think about the future, they can actually create their own future. If you realize that your existing business model is destructing the earth, but if you can create a sustainable business model, for example, you allocate 15% of your resources on your sustainable business model, and the rest 85% is devoted to your existing business model to refine the existing model, you can actually increase the resilience of your corporation. By that I mean, when you only have one business model, of course, your risk is high. But if you have multiple business models, the traditional model versus the innovative, sustainable business model, you will be more resilient. Also, your company will have a positive culture. Your company will embark on transformation more easily than other companies.
那也谢谢。
Thank you very much, Chairman Huang, and thank you again to all of the speakers here and also all of the participants on site and online. When Taiwan responds to climate change, we have the determination, we have the action, and circular economy is a way for us to take action and implement our goals. For the industry, in our lifestyle, we need to transition to a circular economy so we can promote a bright future together. Thank you once again to the participants on site and online. This concludes our session today. Thank you very much. Thank you to all of the participants on site and online. Finally, if you want to obtain the civil servant learning hours, please remember to sign in and sign out. You can scan the QR code. Thank you once again for your participation. Thank you and see you next time.